Welcome, everybody, to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm Cheryl Waters, and today I am so excited to be joined by an artist from Toronto that I fell in love with a couple years ago. A new song just out recently, and I'm so happy to have MorMor joining me live on KEXP at Home. Seth Nyquist, welcome.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I was so overjoyed to hear your new song, Don't Cry, which came out recently. And I'm so excited that you were available to do this session with us. Thank you so much for joining today.
I'm happy to be with you guys. Yeah.
Again, you have a new song, Don't Cry, that just came out recently. And it's been not that long, but a little bit since you've had new music for us to hear. And I'm just living with those beautiful EPs, playing them over and over and over. I understand that you were experiencing some writer's block, maybe as a result of the pandemic. Certainly, we have the subsequent lockdown, the worldwide protests. Was that something that was going on for you? And if so, how were you able to kind of push through that block?
Um, yeah, it's definitely something that has affected us all. And at the time, I had had an engineer staying with me in Toronto from New York. And when the pandemic hit, he had gone back to New York to be with his family for a month, and then wasn't able to get back into the country. Um, so I kind of was like holed up in this house that I've been renting to record the record, and previously to the news of all the chaos that's happened in the world, I'd been writing a batch of songs that after the fact didn't feel like fitting to the time, and I feel I'm always very connected to what's happening within my own life and others, what's happening in the world when I'm writing. So I felt that to release anything that was ignoring the the most current state that we're all experiencing together would be very would be strange. So I kind of pushed those songs aside and felt I had to write this one.
Does it feel like those songs could be something that you'd go back to at a later date?
Yeah, there's definitely musically there are some things, but I feel like lyrically I'm working on some of those ones again. On changing some of those ones, yeah.
You've said in interviews that music helps you make sense of things, and you talk about kind of taking a left turn because of the state of the world right now and writing these new songs. Tell me what the lyrics and the music are like on this new song, and if you have others that you're working on as well. Tell me a little
Mm.
bit more about them.
Um, well, I'll start with the music. I felt that I was really struggling at the time, being so isolated, and I felt that I wanted to reflect some of that like energy that first was sadness and then kind of hardened into something a little bit more intense. So hence why the tempo is kind of upbeat and the drums are banging away. I felt that yeah, I wanted to encapsulate some sort of chaotic feeling, a little more punk, a little bit more edge to something that I've like anything I'd done previously. Like I feel like I was angry and I felt that a lot of people would be able to share that feeling. Um, and lyrically, um, I like to allow people to interpret it, the lyrics, especially because it's a new song. I want them to interpret it the way they want to. It's kind of like making I don't know a movie of that's a depiction of us of some sort of like a book, right? And I don't want to like close in this world as it's taking off in its own way. Because I often learn from other people and how other people perceive things. It kind of excites me again. Um, but yeah, I think I was really trying to talk about the pandemic and the feelings that um, were arising while I was experiencing it and am experiencing it.
When you talk about the music exciting you, it sounds like you had a pretty intense connection with music at a very young age. Can you talk about your musical discovery and appreciation going back to childhood?
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, when I was a kid, I was always very drawn to melody. Um, and I felt music was the one thing as I developed, because I think like a lot of these feelings came before like I can remember. Um, but as I developed, I feel like music has been something that has been constant in my life, and there have been a lot of things that have happened that kind of, yeah, were unexpected. So I think it was something that I could rely on. Um, and yeah, it's always been a very personal thing for me.
Your songs definitely evoke a lot of emotion in me, and they do feel like they're written by somebody who music is very personal to. You've put together some beautiful renditions of some of your songs for us today, and I'd love to share some music right now with our listeners. I believe these first two, Heaven's Only Wishful and Outside. Shall we listen to some music now?
Yeah, sounds good.
MorMor live on KEXP at home.
I'm just a poor boy, waiting for answers. No one heard you come in. I watch the ashes blow away. Spent some days with runaways. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. You could kiss the lips of fate. The less we know, the less it drains us. Close your eyes and see it through. Chaos comes and collects the hue. I can feel the cold air when the night comes. Heaven's only wishful. I can feel the cold air when the night comes. Heaven's only wishful. Some will say, each night I wonder, hoping to find meaning. Do the nights get longer? With luck I can break this feeling. Life and its horrors, oh, there's no getting out. Don't tempt these vultures, oh, I circle round and round. Don't be the reason. Close your eyes and see it through. Chaos comes and collects the youth. I can feel the cold air when the night comes. Heaven's only wishful. I can feel the cold air when the night comes. Heaven's only wishful. Some will say, some say you're the reason that I feel this way, and some say you're the reason You're the reason some say. You're the reason I feel this way. And some say you're the reason. You're the reason. You're the reason. Leaves just fall, lost my way again. Place me still, where it starts to end. Lonely heart, visit me, but it's cold. Looking outside, I'm scared to die. Sky won't hold light, it leaves me blind. How can I find the sun? Looking outside, and what's the use? The sky won't hold light, it leaves me too. How can I find the sun? Looking outside. Lost control, hear it calling in. The room was small, walls were closing in. Won't you wait? Lose the trace, but it's cold. I don't have the heart, it takes hold of me. Felt it all the while, it takes hold of me. Looking outside, I'm scared to die. Sky won't hold light, it leaves me blind. How can I find the sun? Looking outside, and what's the use? Sky won't hold light, it leaves me too. How can I find the sun? Looking outside, I'm scared to die. The sky won't hold light, it leaves me blind. How can I find the sun? Looking outside, and what's the use? The sky won't hold light, it leaves me too. How can I find the sun? Looking outside.
Oh, so beautiful. It's MorMor live on KEXP at home. Those videos are so gorgeous and you sound amazing. Thank you for recording those for KEXP.
Of course, thank you.
Two of my favorite songs. I still remember the first time I heard Heavens Only Wishful. It was just over a couple of years ago, and I was nearly moved to tears, and then just couldn't play that EP enough. And then just about a year later, I heard Outside, and then more songs from that, and I fell in love all over again. And as I said earlier, I'm so excited that you have new music. You've released the two EPs since 2018, and I'm wondering how you describe the growth from last year's record to Don't Cry and any other music that we might hear coming out soon.
I feel like, my process is relatively the same, but I'm always tweaking and experimenting. I feel like the leap from maybe Heavens to someplace else is there's another jump from someplace else to this next project, and where I feel like I've really focused on production and really just building worlds around each song.
You obviously have an intense passion for music that goes back since you were very, very little. But you've talked in interviews about how you push back against pursuing music, even though some people clearly recognized a talent for it and they wanted to push you in that direction, but you kind of pushed against that. Tell me what that was about for you.
I think it was a mixture of a lot of things that I'm still like trying to unpack. I think at the time, like my earliest memories would be I was someone who always wanted to do like their thing, like their own thing, and music at the time very selfishly was mine, and I didn't really want anyone to interfere with that. And I think as I got older, I just felt that I had to pursue it because it was kind of my only means of survival. So that's kind of when I started writing my first songs, or sharing my songs in general. Yeah, 'cause I'd always been writing.
I found it interesting to read about how you would immerse yourself in a single artist or even an album for an extended period of time and just listen to that one thing over and over. And I'm wondering if there's been a silver lining in this lockdown period where you can listen to music purely for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, in terms of listening, I've never, like, I've kept on and held on to that. So I'm always kind of obsessing over certain, I don't know, either lyrics or sounds, like drum sounds or synth sounds in other people's music.
One of the themes that pops up over and over in interviews with you is honesty. And that definitely caught my attention because that's something I think about a lot for myself and what that means to me. And that feels very important to me also in my life. I feel like I have started thinking about that in an intense way a bit later in my life than you are at your age now. But I was definitely, caught by that and interested in that. It comes up in almost every interview with you. And I'm wondering what that means to you. And obviously it's not just about your music, but it translates to how you want to present your music as well.
Yeah, because I think honesty is kind of all we have. I think it's like our identity. I think the more you shift away from that, the less you are able to, I don't know, communicate your like true feelings and emotions or opinions. And like I said, when I was younger, I've always been very sensitive to that, and I find that my favorite artists were artists who I just felt were ultimately honest, because I think my taste was all over the place. I was never into genres. I was into sounds and artistry, and I think, to me as a viewer, if it comes across as honest, whether I like it or not is something else,
Who were some of your favorite artists?
I feel like, Ian Curtis is a big one. he's someone who gets me through a lot. Kurt Cobain is a huge one. Burial is a huge one. I would say Portishead is a huge one. Pink Floyd. I've been listening to Joni Mitchell. Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers is a record I would listen to all the time.
Oh, those are all so amazing.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a little bit all over the place, but
Obviously, touring is on hold right now. And it sounds like when you were younger that you preferred to sort of remain in the background in the music, but obviously you needed to get out in front of an audience. Was that an easy process for you and something that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've because I would perform periodically as a kid, so I feel like I was always able to do it. I think when I started touring my own stuff, I really started to enjoy it because it was nerve-wracking because I'm relatively like introverted, but I don't know, I make so much of the music myself that it was an opportunity to communicate with and like see other people, which I missed dearly and enjoyed a lot while I was doing it.
You said a little while ago that you really like to leave the interpretation of the lyrics and the songs to the people that are listening to them. And I'm wondering if any of your fans or people have reached out to you talking about what the songs have meant to them and it's kind of surprised you or tickled you in some way.
Trying to think of a particular exchange, but yeah, people reach out all the time. I think one that jumps to mind is a doctor had sent me a extended email about my music helping him through a divorce, which was pretty wild and unexpected. But yeah, I quite frequently get people reaching out to me, and it's really like beautiful. Yeah, I feel like that's one that really jumps out at me or popped into my head for some reason.
Your music is really emotional. I mean, I listen to the songs and I feel like I want to cry, but I'm not necessarily sad. But I found sometimes I do feel a little sad. Sometimes it makes me happy. It's an interesting mix of emotions. I feel like it kind of hits me at a really cellular level. And I feel like also it just brings up a lot of visual images for me. And I feel like your music is very cinematic. There's a real cinematic and film element to it. And I know that you make gorgeous videos. I want to talk about those after we listen to the next two songs, but it also makes me want to ask the videos that you've created for us today with these songs. Those are acoustic. That's not exactly how we're used to hearing your music on record. And do the songs start out like that? It's really beautiful to hear them performed like that.
Some do, like Outside did. A lot of them, because I'm producing them at the same time. And as you can see, I have all these like keyboards. I'm kind of doing, I kind of am doing it all at the same time. But yeah, I would say majority are kind of are pieced together at the same time. They're not done in that way.
And how often do people get to hear them like we're hearing them today? I actually have never had the opportunity to see you perform live, which I so hope that I get to do in the not too distant future. But
I hope I can play.
Do you perform like that often?
No, actually, I think that was kind of why I wanted to do it. Is I don't think I've ever really performed like that. No, and most of those are I was just trying to do it like one take kind of deal, just to experiment.
Well, let's listen to a couple more songs. We have one from each EP, Past the Hours, coming up next, and Whatever Comes to Mind. We're live on KEXP at Home with MorMor.
Tired eyes wait on you. You can't please me. The sky's more gray than blue, but you hope I'll bloom, bloom. All the colors we miss as the words left our lips, they will all drift behind. Don't you pay them any mind. Wouldn't pass the eyes close to me, I'll see, I can tell. Looking closely, don't you wait. Who will hold me up? I wanna touch the sky. Who will hold me up? Days wash over me, I felt it all. I'm caught underneath, and you're falling through. How soon it will come, you lose what is gone. They will all drift behind. Don't you pay them any mind. Wouldn't pass the eyes close to me, I'll see, I can tell. Looking closely, don't you wait. Who will hold me up? I wanna touch the sky. Who will hold me up? I wanna touch the sky. Who will hold me up? Ooh. Talking like this, I can do it anyway. Look what you did, seeking out the sun. Heaven's a wish, paradise is lost to me. Or haven't I missed? The truth might hurt the young. Floating down what you into. Something inside that you've been through. Whatever comes to mind's what it came to. You're running for your life till it finds you. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. I'm looking for a sign that you can't miss. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. I'm looking for a sign that you can't miss. The misery lives, taken on by the day. The sky blows a kiss. Try to lift this feeling numb. Losing your grip. Take a step and see the shade. The colors all drip. Feel it all until it's done. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. Looking for a sign that you can't miss. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. Looking for a sign that you can't miss. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. Looking for a sign that you can't miss. Whatever comes to mind that you can't wish. Looking for a sign that you can't miss.
MorMor live on KEXP at home. Also, so beautiful. It looks like you put a lot of thought into where you would shoot those. They're so visually compelling. And you live in Toronto, so I assume all those locations are in Toronto. Has
Yeah,
that
they're all,
been
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's all in my neighborhood.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Is Toronto a great place to grow up and make art?
I would say so, yeah. I feel like there are a lot of great artists that are coming out of here right now.
I think about how much, yeah, boy, I love so many bands coming out of Toronto. I mean, for years, there's so many great ones. I just keep being drawn back to the visual element of that. I mean, just making these beautiful videos, and you took so much care and time to make them look as beautiful as they did. And I've heard you talk about songwriting as a visual creation process for you. And I'm wondering if you can elaborate upon that, because it seems like the visual element is a really important aspect for you. Is it tied into also creating the song itself?
Definitely. Thinking about it, yeah, I feel like the songwriting process, in terms of what you're alluding to earlier with the like playing acoustic or writing with just a guitar or piano, I find that sounds can, whether it comes from like a synthesizer or a guitar or whatever, they actually kind of remind me of things, and I feel like that's where the imagery comes from. So more so than me thinking something up and trying to create that, I feel like it's almost like the in a weird way, like the music like awakens like my subconscious or something, and I'm able to see this like this movie, and then I'm trying to create the song based on that, if that makes sense.
You definitely create some very beautiful, vivid imagery in your videos, which I'm enchanted by. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the video for Don't Cry, because I feel like it captures the uneasiness and dread of the current environment perfectly. It's almost like a little mini animated horror film in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how the visuals of that sort of elevate what you're trying to say in the music, and that video in particular.
Yeah, I feel like that one had the strongest narrative out of any of my other videos. It took a few months of me going back and forth with Otto Tang, who was the animator and also the person who helped me conceptualize some of it as well. I felt, yeah, just like the song, I was trying to depict this moment in time, and brought in. I just wanted kind of to, as you are alone during this process, at least I was, or during quarantine. I felt the only way to introduce a character would be if it was myself, as some sort of duality. And like one of the characters has one eye, and that stems from the Someplace Else video. And I also brought some imagery from outside as well into this one.
Outside is a very compelling video as well. And it was very interesting to read how that video came together. It sounds like the song wasn't even completely written when you started working on that. Talk a little bit about how that worked, how you were sending images back and forth with the director of that one.
With Duncan, yeah, Ludon.
I mean, did he essentially help you write the song by doing it that way?
No, because I don't think we had... I'm trying to remember. That was a while ago. But a similar thing happened in this case. Like I feel like with Duncan, I had reached out to him because I had wanted to work with him, and he had been DMing me for like a while, and I just had never seen it. So it worked out in that way, and I think from there I said I had like this the song, and I had the it wasn't quite finished, but I feel like he got it by the time we started the treatment. But it started like as we were brainstorming what the video might be like, that's when we started passing images back and forth. But in this case, with Don't Cry, a very similar thing happened where I had like the music and like some melodies in there and some words, but I hadn't completed it, and I sent it to Otto, and we started the same thing, like passing images back and forth and building this video before the song was finished. But I had known what the song was about.
It sounds like it's fun to collaborate like that.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. It sounds like it's fun to collaborate like that. You brightened up when you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Do you look forward to doing more collaborating?
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like videos, like doing that, eventually I'd like to go into film somehow. And I feel like that's one of my favorite parts. Because I think just like performing, it's an opportunity to be around and communicate with someone else in a creative space. Because so much of the other time I'm like isolated, kind of like putting the music together.
Your music is clearly inspired by film, and you've even paid tribute to Wim Wenders and David Lynch in specific songs. Have you found time, and maybe it's something you do even not in a pandemic, but I know I found myself watching a lot of television shows and film right now. Have you seen anything worth mentioning lately?
Well, I just watched Emma the other night.
Oh my gosh, I just put that on my list.
Oh, really? Yeah,
I mean, I've known about it for a while, but I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah, I love Nicholas Jar, and the music was amazing. Trying to think of... Yeah, I haven't been watching as much as I had hoped to, just because I'm like kind of deep in this project. So that's where most of my time's going.
Fair enough. Well, that works out in our favor as well. Well, let's watch Don't Cry right now. You've recorded a version of this, and this one is not by yourself.
No, this is with James Hill.
Here's MorMor live on KEXP at home.
If I ever told you why losing is a safe high, falling from a new height, wasting by the wayside, fearful now the world's gone. This is not a love song, these aren't tears of mine. I'm tired of the taste, faint heart in the cold, spent nights wearing thin, felt silence. I'm tired of the days, they came and went. We were left alone, fighting hard to breathe. Don't you cry, don't you cry, don't you cry no more. Don't you cry, don't you cry, don't you cry. Don't you cry no more. Don't you cry. Eyes covered, took your word. The light dies each time I lose sight. couldn't take the shame each night. Eyes covered, took your word. The light dies each time I lose sight. Couldn't take the pain each night. If you wanna live closer to pretend, closer to the end, you never seem to know. Tears are running out, crying alone. If I were to die, you never seem to know. Don't you cry, don't you cry, don't you cry no more. Don't you cry, don't you cry, don't you cry. Don't you cry no more. Don't you cry.
Gorgeous. Oh, that piano sounds so beautiful. We're live on KEXP at home with MorMor. Seth, I know MorMor is what you called your grandmother, and it sounds like she played such a significant role in your life. How does it feel to carry her with you throughout your work and success?
It's something that means a lot. I feel like she was one of the people that I really connected to, and will always like love. And I'm delighted to be able to have her with me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this music with us today and these songs and your time. I cannot wait to hear more. I'm so happy to hear that you're hard at work at more music. It's exciting to see all that equipment behind you and think about what you're creating for us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. You're listening to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm Cheryl Waters. I want to thank MorMor, Seth Nyquist, so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.